your school build a video library.
Thanks to the Weather Channel, cable in the classroom comes home.
Do we have to go back for lunch?
In the next half hour, Weather Center, a comprehensive national forecast. At 40 after, Weather Center continues with highway and air travel conditions. Then the weekend outlook. And at 50 after, Storm Watch. But right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
More tornado warnings and watches in effect, and we also have the potential for flooding. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Janetta Jones.
And I'm Jim Cantori. No rest for the weary, Janetta. Here they come in like crazy. We have reports of some hail, 3/4 inch in diameter, on Highway 54 in Alamance. That's in North Carolina. That's the county. Also still severe thunderstorm warning out for Cuyahoga County, and also upper on the Cleveland Lakeshore. We have had reports of a tornado there cited earlier in Summit County.
It's a rough day.
All right, tornado watch once again for the Carolinas and Virginia. We'll talk about that after we look at last night. One of the more severe outbreaks that we've seen in the southeast, at least Georgia and Alabama, in quite some time. As many as 30 people totally dead at this point, possibly. Cars piling up like it's a junkyard here. These are killer tornadoes in Jefferson County, Alabama. The hardest hit there, at least 22 dead. And no doubt that was an F4 tornado as it was described to us. We take you into Dunwoody, Georgia, a very highly populated area. And this tells you the whole, it isn't just mobile homes that get hit. For everybody who just thinks, oh, it's just a mobile home park. I mean, these are 3,000 to 4,000 square foot homes. As you can see, tree damage is just extensive here, where not only just trees were snapped off like you're seeing, but whole entire root balls. On one person was killed here in DeKalb County, potentially as many as 6 in Georgia alone from the severe weather. So just an incredible night, one of those nights where we definitely saw it coming, and you know, some folks unfortunately just could not react quickly enough to what was going on and through here. So a devastating outbreak indeed. Let's go ahead and take a look at Thursday and Wednesday and Thursday, and you can see what's happened as we followed this across the south. Today our focus shifting a little bit farther off to the north and east. And you can see around our upper air low, we still have some very, very fast upper level winds. The cold front at the surface is still back in western Virginia. And as that's banging into this air now, we're starting to get thunderstorms developing. And there's just a slew of warnings coming out from Richmond down to Raleigh. Several counties under severe thunderstorm warnings now as this thing continues to move on off to the northeast. And I was just getting a look at some of the latest Doppler radar imagery, and some of these storms are really starting to pulse up a little bit. They look like they're hail producers, downburst winds and whatnot, especially here around Richmond and also down here in Vance County, which is in northern North Carolina. That's the same cell that produced the 3/4 inch hail earlier on today. All right, as we take a look at the bigger picture, you can see cloudless skies in the deepest part of the south. Cloud cover moving in northern Georgia, northern Alabama. Just a tremendous amount of moisture has wrapped itself all the way into this low. And unfortunately, with the little movement this thing has undergone over the past couple of days, we've had some very heavy rain all the way from Kansas up through Iowa, across Illinois, and now into Indiana, Michigan, and western Pennsylvania. which is where we have the flash flood watches out. First, the radars. We take you again, Danville on east. Here's Raleigh, the I-85 corridor. There's Vance County. That's where they have a severe thunderstorm warning as we speak. Richmond just getting nailed right now with thunderstorms. These are all intense, all the way down to the North Carolina line. Then out ahead of the cold front, look at the storms just getting ready to push into the D.C. area, and you can see there's some scattered cells starting to pulse up south and west of Charlottesville. Again, most of the warnings out for these cells in the line, which is out ahead of the line, which is developing ahead of the cold front. We take you from Altoona on up to Du Bois. This is all very, very heavy rain, all the way up in western New York. We're starting to see a little drying on the southwest side of this, but don't think that everything's over, because look at this. Right over Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, thunderstorms are developing, and this line extends all the way back into Cleveland, where we talked about Cuyahoga County and also Summit County, and those areas under a potential tornado. And you can see this thing right here. This cell is moving right toward the lake shore. So take cover immediately, as we did have a storm spotter. They did notice a tornado they did spot a tornado on the ground there around Summit County. A little break there, then another round of instability starting to fire up some storms down south of Parkersburg. So we'll continue to get these little elevated convection type events going on. Here's Columbus on up through Mansfield. We take you on off toward the west, and you can see the showers and the thunderstorms on over toward Fort Wayne. All this producing very heavy rain, which will continue through the afternoon. Janetta.
All right, thanks, Jim. The other big story today is the heavy rain, as Jim was alluding to. Some areas could experience localized flooding. It's a wet, dreary day in Birmingham, Michigan, just northwest of Detroit. The rain moved in as you made your way to work this morning. You definitely needed your coat. Temperatures are in the mid-40s, but the wind, get this, is making it feel like it's in the 20s. So it feels a lot more like winter in this locale, and that's one of the problems we've seen, is that colder air mass slamming into the warm, moist air mass along the eastern half of the country. And so we're getting that clash in the two air masses, if you will. Take a look at the heavier rainfall in Indiana and Michigan. Chicago getting some scattered showers, nothing compared to what we're seeing, though, south of South Bend and on towards Kokomo. Heavier rainfall, please be extra careful on those roadways. There's our low kicking on off towards the east. Temperatures, like I said, in the 40s, 41 in Chicago, 47 in St. Louis. Cooler air mass in place across the Intermountain West with high pressure in control. We do, however, have some precipitation moving on into parts of California and Oregon. We're expecting that to impact your travel plans later tonight and into tomorrow. So that's the way things stand in the rest of the country. Let's check on your forecast. By early evening hours, we're expecting some of the severe weather to be letting up. Hopefully, we'll keep our fingers crossed on that regard. We are going to see some rain, though, from Hartford, Connecticut and Providence, Rhode Island on back through New York City. The I-95 corridor for rush hour probably going to be quite slick. We're also anticipating some rain.
The weather.